Today we will be starting off with object identification. Okay, that is basically we saw how to launch the browsers dynamically. Fine. Once you reach the website, how will you identify the elements on the website? Okay, to identify the elements on the website, you need to understand the concept of page source. Okay, every website you open. Okay, if I open Chrome, yeah, if I open Chrome and if you right click on the web page, you'll get the option to view the page source. Okay, this is the page source. Page source is nothing but the HTML code. Okay, you can also, for example, this is the link US politics. You can right click on it and you can say inspect, move over to the dock to bottom view from here. Okay, so you just need to right click on the element and inspect. The Chrome inspector will open up. Okay, and the element's HTML code will be highlighted. Okay, look, HTML language or HTML code. Uh, you can also click on this arrow icon and move the element over which you want to inspect. Okay, and you can click on it and you will get the highlighted HTML code over here. Okay, HTML code is nothing. Okay, but it's the page source of the element. All right, and at times you need to understand this page source in order to interact with the elements. Right. Now in HTML, it's a simple thing. There are tags and attributes. Okay. For example, this is the tag name A, anchor. And these are the attributes of the tag. Mode, type, name, href. Okay. So with the combination of these tags and attributes, we identify the elements. All right. And the anchor tag A is opening over here and it is closing over here. In between, you have the entertainment. Okay. If you change the name over here to test, so you will see on website also it will change to test. But it's just temporary change. If you refresh the web page, it will be back to environment. Okay. Right. So basically the anchor tag over here, anchor tag A holds the text like this, right? Similarly, okay, for example, if you go to a simple website like this, in .rediff.com and you sign in and you inspect the username page, right? The ID of the username text field is on login one. Fine. And this is the tag name is input. So the text field is having the tag name input and there are different attributes, right? Now, if the element is having an attribute known as ID, okay, or name, then it really becomes easy to identify the element. If the element has got ID or if the element has got name, then it's really easy. Okay, because ID and name are unique to the element. Okay, so if you just copy this URL and I'll change the URL. Okay, so after that, you have to go to the web page and say type in the text field. So the first thing is that you need to understand the different locator strategies. Okay, if you go to the official website of Selenium, that is selenium.dev, and if you go to the download section, yeah, in the API docs, you switch over to the frames view and you scroll down to a WebDriver. So you will see that there will be a function, most of you must have seen that, find element. Okay, so which means go and find an element on the web page. So if you write the command driver dot find element command, you will certainly find over here. So this is used to find an element on the page based on a locator strategy. Okay, the strategy with which you want to locate and find the elements on the web page. Okay, so out here, there is the class is by. The by class out here has got, if you click on this by link, there is a class by. By class has got mechanisms used to locate the element within a document. Document means basically the web page, the HTML document. Fine. So if you look at, just a minute, guys, this is, if you look at this class out here, you have different locator strategies. One of them is ID or the link text or the name or the partial link text tag name. There is something known as Xpath as well, and there is something known as CSS selector as well. I'll talk about everything. This is CSS selector, right? But the most easiest thing is if the element has got an ID or the element has got a name. Everything in this class is static. These are functions in this class. So they are static, so you can access them directly with the name of the class. That is, you can write over here driver.find element by dot which locator strategy you want to use. Okay, I want to use ID. So by the ID, and you give the ID of the element. So the ID of the element is out here in the page source. Luckily, this text field is having an ID. So you take the ID login one. So this command will go and find the element login one on the web page. Okay, so sorry. Yeah. So the find element function will find the element and return you reference of web element. Web element is an interface. Web element interface, it represents a generic HTML element. Basically, in layman's term, everything on the web page is a web element. A button is a web element, a text field is a web element, a link is a web element. Okay, a drop down is a web element. Everything on the web page is a web element. Okay, and driver.find element returns you a web element reference. I will call it username. Okay, you import this, and similarly, you can inspect the password field. The password field has the ID, password, and name PASSWD. So we will use the locator strategy by dot name over here. Let us use name to identify the password field. The name of the password field is PASSWD. So this is the password field. Okay, when you inspect the password field, you will see that the name is this. So name is also supposed to be unique. Fine. Now you have extracted them, but you have to interact with these elements. You have to type something in them. Okay. Now this is the web element username. This is the web element password. Okay. Now if you look at the web element interface, the methods in this interface are the general methods to interact with the web element or with the elements on the web page. Like you can click on the element, get the location of the element, is displayed, is enabled. Okay, so there are different functions. Send keys function is used to simulate typing into the element. Fine. So you can simply write username dot send keys. I'll just put some dummy username, user1. And similarly, after extracting password dot send keys password1. Right. And if you run this code now, you see that? Okay, it is going and typing into these text fields. Okay, right. Now, if you look at the sign in button, okay, this is the sign in button. This is the input type. Name is proceed. So we are lucky the button is also having name. So you can extract the web element. You can write a web element button. And this is the name. And button dot click. Right. So when you run this code, you see that it types it's quite fast as well. Right. It goes, types, and you get this error. Okay. Right. And now, uh, to interact with one element on the web page, you are writing two lines of code. Okay. To interact with a single element, you are writing two lines of code. Okay. So instead of this, I'll comment this. Control slash, if you select multiple lines and you hit control slash, is it will actually comment them. And if you again select them and hit control slash, it will uncomment these lines. So at times, this is helpful. So you hit control slash and comment these lines. So now, instead of writing two lines to interact with an element, you can do it in a single line. You can simply write driver.find element by the ID and again dot send keys user1. Look, these two lines, now I'm writing in one line. The execution starts from the left side. First, the element is found. Okay. And once the element is found, you fire the send keys user1 on it. Okay, right. And out here, you can also use the password field. dot send keys password 1, and then the proceed button dot click. Right. Okay. So this is how it works. All right. And when you run this, you see that. So the output is same, but I have written everything in one line. The execution starts on the left side. First, the web element is extracted, and then the function is fired on the web element. All the commands in Selenium, if you write like this, the execution will always be from left to right. In Java, basically, not Selenium, in Java. Anyone with any questions? Anything?
Hi, Ashish. So, it is possible to have a text in a web page without having ID and name, or is it a mandatory attribute?
It is optional. Not
Mm-hmm.
every element will have ID or name.
Mm-hmm.
But if it is having ID or name, it really becomes easy to identify it. If it
Okay.
is not having ID or name, we will see what to do then.
Okay.
Okay,
So
I'm
always
taking,
ID is unique.
yeah, if ID or name is there, it
Mm-hmm.
becomes easy to identify the element.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, now I'm taking the easier thing first. There are different locator strategies by ID, by name. Okay, Xpath is there, CSS selector. I'll talk about them. Now, you know, if you have the link forgot password, okay, link will always be in a anchor tag. Okay, so what you can do is, I'll not click on the submit button. I'll write a driver dot find element by the link text option is also there. You can give the link text and extract the link and click on it. Okay, so once you run this, you see that, right? Or you can also use the option driver dot find element by the partial link text. So instead of giving full forgot password, okay, you can give, say, something like this as well. Trimmed from forward or backside, right? So this will also work. So these are easy locator strategies. Now, one thing is there. What if there are two elements on the web page who have the same ID? Or what if there are two elements on the web page who have the same name? Okay. Or There are two elements, there are two forgot password links on the web page. Okay, look, uh, the thing is, okay, out, just a minute, guys. Somebody from class is pinging me. Hold on. Yeah. So out here, if there are two elements on the web page who have the same ID or a name, then you will use the first one. What do you mean by the first one? Um, Suppose there are two elements on the web page who have the same locator. First of all, this should not happen. Two elements on the web page should not have the same ID. If they are having, you can tell the developer that please look into this. But still, if it is having, then Selenium, what it does, it extracts or it scans the web page source from left to right side, and it goes to the bottom of the page like this. So if there are two elements on the web page which are having the same ID, the Selenium will automatically use the first one. It will ignore the second one. If you want to use the second one, there are ways for that. We will tell you in the coming classes. Right. So even if you look at the documentation of the find element command, it says that find the first web element using the given method. Even if there are multiple elements on the web page, right, it will use the first element while scanning the page from left to right side. Okay, good. So, right. So that's how it works. Okay. And at times what happens is I'm writing find element by the login one. I'll give the ID 1, 2. Okay. I'll give the ID 1, 2. And I will run the code. So the element with ID 1, 2 will not be found. And immediately within a fraction of a second, Selenium throws the exception known as no such element exception. Now, what is an exception? Exception is something, uh, you can say, undesired output which you don't want. Okay, right. Like, for example, let me explain you exceptions in Java language. I'll make a new project. I should have made it earlier. It's fine. Day 05. I'll also copy, hold on. Let me talk about exceptions in Java and how they are helpful in Selenium. All right. So I'll copy this multiple browsers in day 5 as well. And I'll create a new class known as exceptions example with the main function. Now suppose I write here a and then int I equals to 100 divided by 5 and then b. When you run this, it will print a and b. And maybe you can print the value of I as well. Right, a 20 and then b, it is typing over here. Fine. Okay. So basically, if I put 100 divided by 5, if I put 0 over here, 100 divided by 0. So this makes actually no sense. But if I run this, I will get an exception in thread main, arithmetic exception, divided by 0 error. And it just prints A, and after that it stops. So exception is something which is an undesired, you can say, uh, undesired output which you actually don't want. Okay, it's your mistake. It is something which you need to fix in your code in case the exception is coming. Okay, and it abruptly stops the program. Right. So what you can do is you can put, say, this line in a try catch block. You can write a try block like this, and then a catch block with exception enclosement like this. And you can actually print in exception. So basically what happens is that if any line, you can write multiple lines in try block. If any line fails, the control goes into the catch block. Okay. And if you run this now, you will see that it prints A in exception and B. So this line in exception is being printed because the control goes inside the catch block. If I write 100 divided by 2 and if you run this, it will never go inside the catch block. So if you reach the catch block, that means something is wrong. Okay. And probably you can print, the object of exception is automatically created and sent inside the catch block by Java. Exception is an inbuilt class. Okay, the object for that class is sent, and you can write e dot get message. So you can print the exception message as well. That is, okay, hold on. I write 100 divided by 0. So the exception message is divided by 0, error is there. Or you can also write e dot print stack trace. And the stack trace means uh, basically this red line which is there, multiple lines. So the stack trace gives you the exact line as well, that is exception example Java line number 7. The error is coming. If you click on this link, the seventh line will be highlighted. So when you have a big code, it helps you. You just need to click on this and the exception line gets highlighted. But with the catch block, you can actually prevent your program from stopping. Anybody with any questions? Anything? Let me know if this is not clear. So exception is an undesired thing. Hold on. I think somebody is asking a question. To interact with elements, we should always use driver. Yes. To interact with the web elements on the web page, you should always use driver dot. Driver dot, you will get the object find element. The driver is uh, declared over here. Okay. Right. So in our example, we are giving an ID which is not valid. And when we run this, the web page opens and you will see that immediately it throws an exception trace. The exception is no such element exception. And if you look at the trace, it is happening on multiple browsers file line number 39. If you click on it, the line is highlighted that something is wrong. No such element exception is coming on this particular line. So either you can, do one thing, you can put a try catch block across all the lines and catch the exception and continue the program. But when the element is not found, it makes no sense to continue the program. You need to, simply report an error or something. We will see that, we'll see everything. But no such element exception means that element is not found on the web page. Okay. Now, you know what? Sometimes it takes time to find the element on the web page. Okay. Sometimes you load a web page and even after the web page is loaded, there are some Ajax components or some things which are running and the elements are still being loaded on the web page and you want Selenium to wait. Okay, the problem over here is that if you run the program, you will see that Selenium never waits. Within a fraction of a second, it throws the exception at the background. If you look at this, it just maybe you want to wait for 20 seconds and check for the element before throwing the exception. So the solution for this basically comes up with the concept of implicit wait. This is basically a global timeout. Implicit wait command is basically a global timeout. Just after opening the browser, see, I am initializing my driver over here. I have not gone to any website. I have not gone anywhere. Okay, after this, the driver is initialized. You give the command driver dot manage dot timeouts dot implicitly wait duration of seconds. You can give any time like 20 seconds. So this is a global timeout command. It is applicable to all driver.findElement commands. This basically tells that whenever you will fire driver.findElement command, whenever in the code you fire driver.findElement command, and if the element is not found, Selenium will keep on polling the web page for 20 seconds to find the element. Okay, and the moment element is found, it will use the element. Okay, if the element is found in the fifth second or even in the first second, it will use it. But it will not throw the error till 20 seconds. It will check the web page for 20 seconds. If you run this code, you will see that you will not get the error immediately. You see, Selenium is polling the web page continuously for 20 seconds. If the element becomes available in the 10th second, it will use it and move forward. But the exception will be thrown after 20 seconds. You see, now the exception comes up. Okay, so this driver.findElement command is really very dicey. At times element is not found, so implicit wait helps us. At times, people use thread.sleep. You can use thread.sleep. 20 seconds. You have to give milliseconds in this. This command is equivalent to, hold on. This command is equivalent to pausing the program for 20 seconds. It's not bad to use thread.sleep once or twice in the program. Okay. But if you are using thread.sleep, that means you are pausing the program. You are pausing the program for 20 seconds, which is the right thing. Because if the element is found in the third second, it will keep on waiting for 20 seconds. So thread.sleep is like pausing the program. It's not bad to use it. Sometimes you can use it, but it will slow down the program. But this is dynamic. Whenever you are writing any driver.findElement command, it will wait till the time the element is there. If the element becomes visible in the second or the third second, it will use it and move forward. Okay. This is a very important command, and implicit wait should just be given right after launching the browser so that it is applicable everywhere. So you give the implicit wait right after launching the browser. Fine. Okay. Now we saw implicit wait, we saw exception, no such element found exception. And we also saw that you can find the element by ID, name, link text, partial link text. Now, at times, there's a question being asked. At times, what happens is that you have an element which has got no ID. For example, you need to click on this link, rediff.com link is there, and you don't want to use the link text command. Okay, if you look at this link has got no ID. So how will you use this? How will you identify it? So there are other locator strategies like you have Xpaths or you have CSS selectors. Okay, so we'll study first about Xpaths. Right. XPaths are like XPath is like the address of the element on the web page. Like you have an address, okay, which uniquely identifies you. Block number this, house number this, flat number, right? So similarly, XPath is there, and there are different types of XPaths. One is known as a complete XPath or a partial XPath. The other one is a partial XPath. One is complete XPath, or it is also known as absolute XPath. And you can also make your own custom. Okay. Right. What exactly is an XPath? Right. Let me just make a new file over here known as xpaths.txt, and I'll put this over here in this text file. So complete XPaths or partial XPaths or custom XPaths. Right. Now, if you look at this link, I'll move to the top view. This is the anchor tag A. This is inside the division tag. See, the division tag is there. It is inside this division tag. This division tag is inside another division tag, and it is another division tag. And if you scroll to the top, everything is starting from the HTML tag. Okay, right. So over here, if you hit Control F of the keyboard, you will have a text field coming at the bottom. All right. And in this text field, I'll just type the first tag, which is HTML, the root tag on the web page. Under the HTML tag, there are two tags, head and body tag. And the tag which we are interested to reach, okay, which is the rediff.com link, is somewhere inside the body tag. So you write HTML/body. So you see body tag will be highlighted. Inside the body tag, you have got script tag, no script, and then the div tag. You want to go inside this div tag because somewhere inside this div tag, your rediff.com link is there. So you write /div to reach this div tag. Inside this div tag, you have got three parallel division tags. Understand this point. This is the division tag. Okay. Under this division, you have got three parallel division tags. You want to go inside the first division tag because rediff.com is inside the first division tag, somewhere inside the first. So you will write /div bracket 1. That means go inside the first division tag under this. If I write bracket 2, it will go inside the second one. Okay, you want to go inside the first one. And then inside the first one, there are again three division tags. You want to go inside the first one again because this rediff.com is lying somewhere inside the first one. So you will again write slash div bracket 1. This is the first one. And inside the first one, there are two parallel division tags. You again want to go inside the first one. Okay, so slash div bracket 1. And then you have the anchor tag A, which holds rediff.com link. Then you can write slash A. So this becomes your complete XPath. It starts from the HTML tag and you have to traverse down till the element. From the root of the web page, you traverse down to the element and you get the full XPath like this, complete XPath. There is no need to calculate this XPath the way I have done it. I just took the example with you. Okay, you just need to go to the page source and find the element. This is the element. Right click on it and you'll get the option copy full XPath. Full XPath means the complete XPath. And when you copy it, you'll get the full XPath. You can just remove the initial slash which you have. So this is the one which you get from the automatically calculated from the browser. Okay, so every element will have a full XPath. The username element will also have a full XPath. You can right click on it, copy full XPath, and this is the full XPath. Okay, right. And in the code, if you are writing driver.findElement by the ID of the username field, now if you don't use the ID, you can use the full XPath. You can write driver.findElement by the XPath, and the XPath which you've copied from the browser, you write over here dot send keys user one. Okay, right. So when you run this code, the output will still be the same, but now I am using XPath. You see that it was quite fast, right? But we don't prefer to use the full XPaths. We do not prefer to use full XPaths because if something changes in the root of the document or somewhere over here, then all my XPaths will just go for a toss. If something changes, an element is added in between or something, then I'll have to change all the XPaths and all everything. We don't prefer to use complete. If a new tag gets added somewhere, if an element gets added on the web page, so the complete XPaths will get changed. All the XPaths will be changed. So we don't prefer to use these. All the absolute XPaths are very accurate. Okay, they're very accurate. They start from the root of the document and they go till the element. They are really accurate, but we don't prefer to use them. We use the partial XPaths. We'll study partial XPaths tomorrow. Okay, so it is very easy to get the XPath. Okay, you just need to go inspect the element, right click on the element in Chrome, I'm saying, and copy full XPath. In Mozilla also you get these options, but I don't use Mozilla. Chrome is better. Okay, anybody with any questions? Anything?
Hi Ashish, I'm not able to run the browser. Can you please help me?